In this video, we're going to take a look at the area of polygons. And what I want you to do is turn your page to 390, not 389, but 390. And we're going to take a look at finding areas of polygons. Now it says at the top, and you also need to get out your math journal and a pencil. Now it says at the top, you can find the areas of polygons by breaking the polygons into smaller shapes. Then you can apply area formulas we've already learned. Okay, so let's say that we're taking a look at this polygon to the right hand side. And what you want to do is you want to draw horizontal line segments on the diagram that divides the polygon into a rectangle and also into a triangle. Now why would we do that? Because we know the area of a rectangle and also the area of a triangle. Now step 2, we want to find the area of the rectangle. So what we have is area equals base times height. And what we can see here is we have a base of 16 and a height of 7. Now I know on the left hand side the height is 13, but understand we cut that off on this left hand side. It's important to understand when you're dividing up different shapes or dividing polygons that you understand what the different or the measurements of the different shapes and that you don't get confused. So we know 16 times 7 gives me 112 centimeters. And then what we want to do is we want to find the area of the triangle. Now we know the base, what we can see here, we know the base is the base of the whole entire polygon is 16 centimeters. And we know that the base that is not included in the triangle is 8. So that must mean that this side, this part of the triangle here, is 8 centimeters. Okay, so we have 16 minus 8 gives us 8 for the base of the triangle. And then the height, we know the height is, total height is 13, but we also know the height on the right hand side is 7 centimeters all the way up to where that triangle begins. So we take 13 minus 7 and that gives us 6. So it's important to think about what you already know and apply that to figuring out some of the measurements that you don't know yet. So area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So base times the height equals 1/2 times 8 times 6, giving us 24 square centimeters. And then from there, what you do is you add the areas from steps 2 and 3. We had step 2, 112, step 3, 24. So you take 112, add 24 for 136 square centimeters. So that would be a way that you would find the area of a polygon. You want to divide it up into different shapes that you already know the formula to. Now another way of doing this, it says extend the top edge and the right edge of the polygon to form a square with a side length 60 feet. Find the area of this square. So what we can see here is we are just taking this polygon and making it into a square. So we know the area for a square is side times the side. So what you can do is multiply 60 times 60. We're forgetting about this empty space for right now. 60 times 60, that gives us 3,600 square feet. Now obviously that's not going to be our answer, so we need to take a look at step 2. It says notice that the square you drew has a rectangular missing piece. Find the area of this missing piece. So this is the next step. Okay, so what we see here of this missing piece, we know 30 is the actual area of the shape. So if we said actual length or the height of that shape. So 30, and we know that the whole height of this polygon is 60. So we just take, for the height, 60 minus 30. That's going to give us 30. We could just write that off to the side, so that gives us 30. Okay, now finding the base, I kind of went backwards here, according to the book. The base, we know it's 60 for the total base, but we also know that this right here is 20. So that must mean this dotted area would be 40 for the base. You could even write 40 here for the actual base there. Now we have the area of this shape right here is going to be 40 times 30, which will give us 1,200. If you remember, the original area that we had was 3,600. So we're going to take that 3,600, minus 1,200, and that's going to give us the area of 2,400 square feet. So that's another way of doing this. Now let's take a look at at the reflect question. It says divide, or what is another way to find the area of the polygon in B? Another way you can do that is divide the polygon into two rectangles. You can see I can draw my line right here. So we have two different rectangles, and we can find the sum of their area. So that'd be another way to do that as well. Kind of like we did with A, but we did a triangle and a rectangle without one. Now let's take a look at number 3. We're going to do these together. So first of all, we're going to find the area of each polygon. And the first thing we want to do is divide these up into shapes that we can figure out. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line right here. I'd like you to do that as well. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find the area of this rectangle. So what we can do is the base times the height. So area equals base times height. So area equals 4 times 8. Then the area of that rectangle equals 32 meters squared. Okay, and what I like to do is just write 32 right here just so I can remember it, and I'd like you to do that as well. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to figure out the length of this little thing poking out here. Okay, so length of that rectangle, we know the base, we can see it pretty easily there, is going to be 6. So area we know is base times height. Area equals 6 times, now we've got to find that area that we don't quite know about. Now what we do know about is we know that the bottom part of this right hand side is 3 meters, the top part of this side is 3 meters equaling 6 meters, and the total height is 8 meters. So if we take 3 plus 2 plus 3 will give us 8, so we know that this measurement here is 2. So now what we have is we have 6 times 2, so that's the height. So area equals 6 times 2 is going to give me 12. So I have 12 in this little section here. So now I can add these two together. 32 meters squared plus 12 meters squared is going to give us 44 square meters. Now let's take a look at this next problem, problem number 4. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make a line just like that. And we can see we have a square. So area for a square is side times the side. So area, and I'd like you to do this with me, is 18 times 18. And area for the square equals 324 inches squared. Now we're going to take a look at that next shape, which is a trapezoid. This can be a little tricky. If you remember the area for a trapezoid, and I'm going to write 324 right here, and I'd like you to do that as well. Area for a trapezoid, and I'm going to erase everything here. So area for a trapezoid equals 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. Now this is a little tricky when we take a look at this because we need to figure out what the base and the height and everything else is. So this would be considered base 1, base 2. So these are our two bases here. A little tricky. Okay, and then we can see the height will be this left-hand side going like this. So what we'll do is we will take area equals 1/2. We're going to plug in our numbers now. Times the height, which we can see the height will be 18. Times base 1. Okay, so the base, one of our bases here, we can see that's 9 inches from there to there, so that's going to be 9 inches here as well. So it's going to be 9 plus base 2, which is 18. Now what we can do is work the problem out. Area equals 1/2 times 18 times 27. Now we have 1/2 times 18, which is 9 times 27. And then 9 times 27, area equals 243. We have 243. Now what we can do is we can add 324 plus 243 together. That gives us 567 square inches. So it's important to make sure that when you divide up your polygon that you not only understand how to go about doing this, but also you remember the different formulas for the different types of shapes that you're looking at. So now let's take a look at solving real-world problems on page 391. It says you can apply the technique of dividing a shape into smaller shapes in problems that involve finding area. So let's take a look at example number 2. It says the diagram shows the shape and dimensions of Teresa's rose garden. It says find the area of the garden. Now it says draw a horizontal line segment on the diagram that divides the polygon into rectangles, one on top of the other. Okay, so you can see the way they divided this up just like this. So now what you can do is you want to find the area of the top rectangle. Area equals base times the height, equaling 15 times 9. Okay, and where are we getting the 15 times 9? So you can see 9 is the height, 15 we can see here, 15 being the base there. Okay, so 15 times 9 gives us 135 square feet. Now it's easy usually with one of these shapes that you see because the measurements are right there, but the other one sometimes it can be a little tricky, sometimes even both of them. Now it says find the area of the larger bottom rectangle. The base of the larger rectangle is 24 feet. And the height, what we're going to do is we're going to take 9 minus 18. Where are we getting that? Because we know 18 is the total height, but from here to here is 9, so that's going to be 9. All right, now what we can do is multiply 24 times 9, giving us 216 square feet. Then you add the 135 plus 216. That's going to give us 351 square feet. That's the area of the garden, is 351 square feet. Now, Teresa wants to buy mulch for her garden. One bag of mulch covers 12 square feet. How many bags will she need? Okay, so what we do is we take the total square feet, 351 square feet, divide it by 12. You can see it gives us 29 and 25 hundredths. And then Teresa will need to buy a total of 30 bags, because last time I checked, you cannot buy 29 and 25 hundredths of a bag. Okay, so a total of 30 bags of mulch is what she would need. Now let's take a look at problem 5. It says the diagram shows the floor plan of a hotel lobby. Carpet costs $3 per square foot. How much will it cost to carpet the lobby? Now, what we can see here is a shape, is a polygon that when you divide it up, actually divides nicely into two trapezoids. And what you can, and if you remember, area of a trapezoid, area equals 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the numbers for one of these, and then we will actually just multiply our answer by 2 and go from there. So we have area equals 1/2, I want you to do this with me, times the height, which is 15.5, base 1, 30 feet, base 2, 42 feet. Sorry, I have to really squeeze this in here. Now what we will do is we're going to add, so we have area is 1/2 times 15.5 times that 30 plus 42. That's going to give us 72. Now what we have is area equals 1/2 times 15.5. We can type that in first. So 0.5 times 15.5. That's going to give me 7 75 hundredths. So let's write that out in our formula. So area equals 7 75 hundredths times 72 now. 7 75 hundredths times 72. That's going to give me 558. So now what we can do to find the area of the total shape, since there's two exact trapezoids, we take that 558. First of all, we need to write area equals 558. We're going to multiply this now by 2 to get the area of the whole entire shape. So 558 times 2, you can see is going to give me 1,116. So the area of this whole shape is 1,116. Now that is not the answer to our question though. It says carpet costs $3 per square foot. How much money will it cost to carpet the lobby? So $3 a square foot. We have 1,116 square feet. You're going to take that 1,116, multiply that by 3. That's going to give me $3,348. For number 5. Now what I would like you to do is take a look at number 2, and you can work on that now. Okay, so the answer to this question is 112 square feet. Now what I would like you to do is take a look at number 4. I'd like you to work on that now. So the answer to number 4 is 240 square feet. And how many cans should Jess buy? 3 cans of paint. So this concludes the video on area of polygons. If you have any questions about this concept, please come and see me.